Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, this is something that I want all my subscribers to hear, simply because I consider you guys like my little YouTube family. You guys are more than just my viewers, my subscribers. You guys are my friends. So I definitely want you guys to hear this because I feel like we can all relate to it. I personally am going to try to put minimal ads in this video. If YouTube has other plans for it, that's fine, because I understand that's part of the monetization process. But I personally am not going to put a lot of ads, simply because I just want you guys to watch through it. If there are ads, just watch the ad and keep going, because I feel like everyone deserves to listen to this and get motivation through this and just live their best life, because you deserve it. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now I'm going to start off today's video with a little story. This is personally not my story, but I feel like it's going to set the mood for what I'm talking to you guys about today. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Thank you guys again for clicking on today's video, because that shows the first step into possibly wanting to better your life, which you deserve a better life. So hear this out and then let me know your thoughts down below. There once was this man, okay, a very bad man, ended up in prison. And I'm not saying just because you end up in prison you're bad, but this man stole a lot, he did a lot of drugs, he would inject himself, and he ended up having 2 kids. They were boys, so he had 2 sons. And obviously he didn't really care for his kids. He's definitely not what society would consider a good father. He was an alcoholic, a drug addict, sold drugs to minors. I mean, he basically just did a lot of bad things. You know, he was in gangs, hung with the wrong people, you know, probably killed a few. So you guys get the idea. Now, as life went on and his sons grew up, we'll give his sons names, I guess, just to make it easier. Jerry and George. Yeah, we'll just use those. Those aren't the real names, but we'll use those names. Jerry ended up becoming just like his father. He ended up on the street. He is what society would consider a bum, no motivation in life, no goals. He would eat out of trash cans, did drugs, and was just living, you know, bin to bin. And it wasn't, you know, a fun lifestyle. It's a poor lifestyle. And a lot of times people would ask him, Jerry, what drove you to have this lifestyle? Why'd you choose to live like this? And his response would always be, my dad didn't love me. My dad was a drug addict. My dad, you know, sold drugs, went to prison, and basically, honestly, feeling almost bad for himself and blaming the reason that he's not successful or anyone in life because of his dad. And that's just the facts of what happened. He blamed his father. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I understand it's a tough situation, but that was always what he would say to people when people asked him, why'd you choose to basically be a bum? Whereas his brother George ended up being quite the opposite. He ended up being a CEO of a company. I believe it was actually his company. He ended up marrying a very nice lady, having kids, having a family, and just being very successful, and definitely what society would consider commendable. He was a great father. He was a great employer. He helped many different organizations, just did, you know, the commendable thing. And a lot of times people would ask him in interviews, you know, what motivated you to keep going? What led you to be this successful? Because this dude was like a millionaire, and overall, he was just happy and healthy, and that is the most important thing. And he would always say the same response his brother Jerry would say. My dad was a drug addict. My dad did very bad things. My dad was in prison. My dad didn't love me. But he used that fuel clearly to be something else, be someone else, unlike his brother. He used that fuel to show him. He used that past to learn from and to say, you know what, I don't want that life. I don't want that lifestyle. It's not good. So I'm going to do everything in my power to do the opposite. And so he did, because it all starts in here. So if you believe that you can achieve something, you most definitely will. But you have to see it for yourself and believe it and write it down, so that then you can genuinely take the appropriate actions to achieve it. And I just felt like that sets the tone for what I'm talking to you guys about today, because I just know many people, and I know some of you guys watching me are probably included in this category as well. We all know a toxic family member or come from somewhere toxic, whether it be a toxic boyfriend, a toxic past, a toxic household, toxic moms, dads, whatever. And I'm no exception. So I remember a lot of times, you know I don't always share my story here on YouTube with you guys, maybe like my personal story. I share what I want you guys to see, because even though I love you guys and appreciate you all and everything, certain things are a little harder to talk about than others. So even though some of you might not know my past, I know I try to make you guys feel like you know me as much as possible. Even though I do want to open up about my past, I know I kind of haven't. So obviously everyone kind of has like a sad story, I feel like, and no one really cares though until you make it or until you die. But thankfully I'm not dead. So I always felt like there wasn't much purpose of me sharing my sad story, because what is it gonna do? I mean, maybe I will just let people know that they're not alone, and that the people who come onto these cameras and have the biggest smiles and try to help everyone and make everything seem so perfect are the same ones who struggle a lot outside of the camera. Because I know that's one misconception. Everyone's like, oh, Patricia, you know, she has a perfect life. Patricia, she bought her car. Patricia goes to school. Patricia's fine. Patricia's chilling. And it's like, y'all don't know everything I had to go through also to like get there. Y'all just see the results, because that's all I post. I don't post when I'm crying or beating myself up, or you know, the things that have happened to me before I was in the shoes that I currently am in. So that's definitely something to think about, because everyone, like I said, I feel like has a story. Just because not everyone decides to share it doesn't mean that it's not present, especially to that person. Because when you have a hard past, it's definitely very, very, very much present in yourself, you know? But nevertheless, does that give you the excuse to excuse yourself for certain actions? So like I was saying, I feel like we all know someone or have someone in our family, or maybe our whole household in general is a little toxic. I know everyone's story is a little different. Some people only live with one parent, some people just have a legal guardian, some people live in group homes. Like, it's just very, very different. But I would definitely say that it's normal, not normal, but it's common nowadays for, you know, someone to be a little out of it, and it drags us down. And a lot of times we, you know, as the younger generation or even the older generation, definitely think it's very common, you know, and especially nowadays, for us to blame that as the reason to why we're not where we want to be. So take me, for example. For a long time, after I went through some things that I didn't think I was gonna have to go through, it knocked me down, broke me apart, and I had to act like everything was fine, because I had to go out in the real world and do things so that I can distract myself, or so that I can be a better person, or so that I can help out my family. So I had to, you know, do certain things. And it's like right when I was starting to feel like I was gonna do better, something else would come into my path and knock me down all over again. So it was just so hard, because it's like you feel like you're getting up, you're almost there, and then you're knocked down right all over again. And you're like, how do I get up this time? And there's only so many falls you take before you're like, why am I here? Like, why am I still doing this? I don't want to do this anymore. But you have to keep going. That's the moment when you're finally getting strong. And that's why they say pain makes you stronger. Because right when you're at those breaking points, that's when you have to lift yourself up. Because then you have an amazing story to tell. And you will also become this beautiful, resilient person. Because all that evil that was meant to knock you down made you stronger, which makes you a better person. And you're going to be very successful. So don't let your past depict your future, because you're just getting started. Now, I can prove this, okay? I can prove this because I've seen it happen with so many people, people who are close to me or people who I just knew. I don't want to share all their stories because I feel like it's not my position to share their stories, but I've seen people break down from a bad past. And a lot of us, especially the young generation, I feel like a lot of the people who also watch me, their biggest problems or your biggest problems are like, oh dang, you know, social media, and I keep comparing myself and I feel like I don't love myself and this and that. But at the end of the day, even though I've been there and I get it, and social media is so toxic and this and that, to some people that is such a minimal problem, because it genuinely is a minimal problem, but I know it takes over our head because genuinely it's toxic. I get it. But there's people with so much bigger problems than that, and they're wishing that their problem was getting off social media or deleting social media. There's kids out there who are struggling to find a job and they're like 15 years old. Or there's kids out there who don't have a family, kids out there who are not healthy, kids out there who don't have legs or arms. So I know to us sometimes it's like, oh, social media, oh, this and that, and I don't look good, my body doesn't look good. To some people, they wish that was their problem. They actually have a sad story. Just because you compare yourself to someone else and you feel like you went through a depressed stage because you would always compare yourself on social media, I'm not telling you that you're not depressed and stuff. I know everyone's level of sadness is different, and I'm not saying that that's not a good not excuse, but and I'm not saying that that's not a good reason, because I've also been there myself. But I also acknowledge the fact that there's people who are in worse shoes, and that always lifts me up. You know why? Because it helps me appreciate what I have. So when I'm sitting here crying because, oh, this person left my life, or I don't have this, or whatever it may be, I think of someone who would do anything to be in my shoes, and who definitely would not be crying if they had the opportunity to be in my shoes, because they would just be appreciative of the things I do have. So like I mentioned, it's not my place to say someone else's story, but in my personal story, with all the battles and stuff I went through, I used to blame that as to why I wasn't where I wanted to be. I always wanted to lose weight, and when I got sad or frustrated, eating was my coping mechanism. It definitely was, which also led me to gain weight, which also led me to have lower self-esteem. And when I would be offered any type of help, or somebody would say anything to me, I would just blame the stuff I've been through and then use the simple, you don't get it, so you can't opinionate. And it was the wrong mentality. It was rude towards someone who was just trying to help me. And even though I am entitled, and I feel like everyone's entitled to feel however they want, and everyone copes with stuff differently, and I don't suggest you do anything bad, but if you need to, you know, go for a walk or whatever, it's understandable. Life is not perfect. Life throws stuff at you sometimes that breaks you, but you have to get up. Because I stood in this dark place for so long and did bad things because of the place I was at, and then blamed everything because I didn't come from a perfect family, or because I had gone through certain hardships in life, and I would be like, I'm just not there because of this, and you don't get it. And I would just sit here and cry and feel bad for myself, and the people who were around me, after I would open up about my story, because I genuinely didn't care about keeping it a secret, they would feel bad for me too and just let me be. But why? I wasted a year and a half, I think 2 years or more, with that BS. And I got me nowhere. It got me nowhere. Until one day I decided to be like, enough is enough. And that's why I come on here and do motivational videos. Because when I was at that point, I didn't see no YouTuber making videos about how to get out of the dark place you're at, how to stay motivated, how to not let your past depict your future. I didn't see none of that. All I saw was people living their life and doing their stuff. And that's why I also say social media is toxic, because I'd be on social media seeing all these people do all these things, and I was crying in bed. And I was like, this has to stop, because the place I was going was not ideal. It was not a good place. So I had to drag myself out of that, which is very hard to do, especially by yourself. But at the same token, if you don't want to accept anyone's help, then your only option is yourself. So I definitely I'm very, very happy now that I got myself out of that. I mean, in the moment, it seemed like whatever, but now it's like, oh my gosh, like, you guys have no idea. It's almost like I'm just so proud of myself. I don't need someone else's reassurance, like, yeah, you're doing great. Like, I don't need no one to tell me that. I'm just so proud of where I'm at. And like myself, there are many, many people, and people with worse, I can't say that word, people with worse past, that's a tongue tweezer. People with worse past, like people with worst, oh my god, this shit. People with worst past have, you know, made it out, have made their life better. So therefore, you're no different. You still have a chance to flip your life around if you haven't had the best past. That's okay. Your past does not define you. It's your future. Your past does not make you. You get to choose who you are. You get to choose what makes you. So in the past, you could have been part of this very toxic family. That does not make you toxic. If you decide to stay, or if you decide to act the same way, you made yourself toxic. That's just the truth. And I love you guys, and I say it with love. But if you know that that's not how you want to be, do something about it. If you come from a broken home, learn from that and decide that in your future, in your family, if that's what you decide to have, you're not going to have a broken home. And move on from that. If you sit here and feel sorry for yourself, and you sit here and you go smoke, and you sit here and you go drink because you're drinking your problems away and you're smoking your past away, after you get off that all high fun or whatever, after you get off being drunk, after you just get off that pleasure moment where you feel like you're in the clouds and you have no problems, you still have the same problems as when you first did it, you know? So what's the point of doing it? I know sometimes people are like, I just want to forget it for a few minutes. Live it. Stop trying to forget it. It's part of you. Live that pain and keep going. You guys are using these coping mechanisms, and long term they're going to affect you. They don't fix you. They affect you. They make you addicted to things that you probably don't even want to be addicted to. So I have had a person tell me my mom was addicted to drugs and stuff like that. And that's why, you know, they got taken away, stuff like that. But if you go on with your life doing drugs to forget the pain of being taken away from a home, aren't you doing the same thing your mom did or that your dad did? You're doing the drugs that originally got you taken away. Don't do it. Decide for yourself, make goals for yourself that you want to better yourself. You owe yourself that much. You owe yourself a second opportunity in life. You don't get to choose your parents. You don't get to choose the house you get sent to or the house you get put in. When you are first born, your parents take you to the house they live in, whether it be in the hood, whether it be in the suburbs, whether it be wherever it be. You don't get to choose if you get placed in a basket and left in front of someone's front door. You don't choose if you get abused or something bad happened to you. You don't choose that. You're just a kid. And people understand that. And if people who don't understand that, they don't have to. They can go somewhere else with that. You need to be sure of yourself and be like, you know what? That doesn't define me. I'm going to keep it moving. Because now, as you get older, you have the option to decide for yourself what it is that you're going to do. So you couldn't decide back then, and that's why you were where you were at. But now that you can decide, make a difference for yourself. Because obviously that's not the life you wanted for yourself. If not, you wouldn't be watching this video. If not, you wouldn't be feeling sad for yourself. If not, you wouldn't be feeling bad about the situations. You would just be caring about life, thinking that that's what you deserved. But it's not, and you know it. So if you know that that's not what you deserve, go make a name for yourself. Do something to motivate you, to make you a better person. Put goals for yourself. Sometimes people don't have goals. They're like, oh, I'm just a messed up kid. You're not a messed up kid. Why would you ever say that? Just because you have a messed up past doesn't mean you can't fix it. I know so many people who have gone to prison. I think in my head, oh, they're messed up. You think that when they get released, that they're like, you know what, I'm messed up. Let me just go back to prison. I'm sure that's how some of them think. But then the smart ones think, I've been given the second opportunity in life. I messed it up the first time. Let me fix it the second time. Sometimes when we're young, we do stupid things that put us in prison or put us in jail or put us in bad situations. But if you learn from it, you can fix your life around. You can get that job. You can get that house. You can get that family. You can get that girl or boy you want. You have to start filling your head with, I can, I will, I can, I will, rather than, I can't, I'm messed up, you know, it won't ever happen for me. Don't do that to yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this video. I love you guys. And if you guys ever need any type of like support or motivation, just want someone to talk to, any advice, just about anything, go ahead and let me know. I mean, leave it down in the comment section below or message me. I'm here for y'all. I understand the struggle. A lot of times people are like, why do you help so many people? Or like, why are your videos just all work videos or helpful videos? Like, why don't you do pranks and challenges? And I try to incorporate both, but most importantly to me, I want to help people, because when you understand what certain people go through, you don't want to see more people go through that. So a challenge or a prank, anybody can show you, anyone can do. A lot of times they're not even real. And I try to do them because I know that there's people who watch me who just want a good laugh, and that's fine, because I know like it is good to laugh. Not everything in life has to be so serious. I get it. But I also understand the fact that if I have this knowledge and capacity and ability to help change someone's life, why would I not do it? you guys would be shocked how much one person or just a few words from somebody could change someone else's life. So that's what I strive to do here on my channel. I hope you guys enjoy and decide to continue the journey with me. So if you guys could please subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for my next video, I'd appreciate it. And I love you guys, and you guys are absolutely beautiful, and you got this. Bye.